So imagine for just a moment that the vast ocean of space has currents, invisible streams flowing from star to star, carrying with them fragments of ancient worlds, shattered planets, and forgotten civilizations. What if one of those fragments, lost for eons in the black silence between suns, finally crossed paths with us? Would we even recognize it for what it was? Or would we mistake it for something familiar, like a comet, an asteroid, or just another cosmic wanderer, until the evidence became too strange to ignore? That is exactly what has happened with the object now known as 3I Atlas. For years, scientists debated whether interstellar visitors like Oumuamua or Borisov were mere natural accidents of galactic drift, but this third confirmed interstellar object has torn through every expectation. And now, after 4 of humanity's most powerful eyes on the cosmos, the James Webb Space Telescope, Hubble, the Very Large Telescope, and SPHEREx have converged their gaze upon it, the message is becoming clearer. 3I Atlas is not what we thought. The story begins not with certainty, but with doubt. When 3I Atlas was first spotted, astronomers classified it as another interstellar comet. After all, its coma, the glowing halo of gas and dust surrounding its core, resembled the familiar signature of icy bodies that melt as they approach the warmth of a star. But even in its earliest observations, something felt off. The shape was inconsistent, the trajectory too peculiar, and the brightness curve refused to match standard cometary behavior. Scientists reassured the public with cautious words, "We believe it is a comet from another star system." But beneath those words lingered a quiet fear. What if it wasn't? Then came the revelations. The James Webb Space Telescope, with its unmatched sensitivity to infrared light, peered into the chemical composition of 3I Atlas's coma. What it found was not the frozen water and simple organics we expect from comets born in our solar system. Instead, Webb detected complex hydrocarbons, exotic ices never before catalogued, and a molecular fingerprint that seemed, in the words of one stunned researcher, like the residue of a world we've never known. These chemicals should not have been there, not if 3I Atlas was merely a chunk of rock and ice wandering aimlessly through interstellar space. The scientific community was forced to pause. If comets are the time capsules of planetary formation, little frozen records of the conditions that shaped their stars, then 3I Atlas was screaming at us. The universe makes planets in ways we've never even imagined. But as startling as Webb's discovery was, it was only the first layer of mystery. The Hubble Space Telescope followed. With decades of experience capturing deep field wonders, Hubble turned its gaze on the core of 3I Atlas. What it revealed left astronomers scratching their heads. The nuclear size, the solid heart of the comet, was unstable. At times it appeared small and dense, only a few kilometers across. At other times, Hubble's measurements suggested something sprawling and irregular, as though the very shape of 3I Atlas was in flux. Was it breaking apart? Was it hollow? Or was there something about its internal structure that defied the physics we understood? Theories spiraled. Some suggested it was a contact binary, 2 bodies loosely bound together. Others whispered about hollow interiors, voids large enough to make its rotation unpredictable. And then came the whispers that sound more like science fiction than science. Could it be artificial? Could it be a fragment of some ancient construct, wandering the void long after its creators were dust? Mainstream journals avoided such speculation, but the question spread across conferences and private discussions nonetheless. The third confirmation came from the Very Large Telescope, VLT, in Chile. Unlike Webb or Hubble, the VLT excelled in spectroscopy, the study of light to decode the elements hidden within. Its readings were baffling. Among the expected signatures of carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen were anomalous spikes, elements and isotopes that simply did not fit. One astronomer compared it to finding traces of titanium alloys in a piece of driftwood. It should not be there. Period. These findings shook the quiet foundations of cometary science. If natural, then our models of interstellar chemistry were catastrophically incomplete. If not natural, then we were staring at something designed. And finally, SPHEREx, a new generation telescope built specifically to map the universe's composition, made the boldest revelation of all. It estimated the true scale of 3I Atlas, and the numbers staggered even seasoned scientists. It was not a small interstellar fragment, it was massive, so massive that its presence raised questions of gravitational influence. Its size did not match the brightness of its coma. Either its surface was unusually dark, absorbing light like ink, or we had grossly underestimated what interstellar objects could be. And it was at this moment that prophecy seemed to creep into science. For years, futurist physicist Michio Kaku had warned that interstellar visitors would eventually challenge us, not just scientifically, but philosophically. He often said, "The universe is stranger than we can imagine, and one day an object will force us to confront what we do not want to believe." With 3I Atlas, that warning no longer felt like speculation, it felt like an unfolding script. The mystery deepened when researchers compared the trajectory of 3I Atlas with the paths of other known interstellar visitors. Unlike Oumuamua, which sped away with a strange acceleration, or Borisov, which behaved like a conventional comet, 3I Atlas followed a path that seemed almost deliberate. It cut through the solar system with precision, skimming closer to planetary alignments than chance alone should dictate. Was it coincidence? Or was gravity guiding it in ways we had not accounted for? Some analysts suggested resonance effects, others invoked the invisible hand of dark matter. But there was a darker question hidden beneath. What if it was navigating? When you hear words like navigating in the context of astronomy, it sounds absurd, even laughable. Space is vast, chaotic, merciless. Yet human beings navigate the seas, the skies, and now the stars with spacecraft of our own. Is it so impossible to imagine that another civilization, older, bolder, long gone, might have left behind probes, relics, or debris that continue to drift between stars? And if so, could 3I Atlas be one of them? The pattern of discovery mirrors prophecy itself. At first, denial, then recognition of anomalies, then revelation, and with revelation comes fear, because every new layer suggests we are not the only authors of the story unfolding in space. Humanity, for the first time, is being asked not whether we are alone, but whether we can handle the truth if we are not. And here lies the haunting echo of Kaku's words, that the greatest discovery in human history may not be finding life among the stars, but facing the artifacts of civilizations extinct before our own dawn. Atlas might not be alive, but it might still be a messenger. Its chemicals, its structure, its scale, they are the whispers of worlds that died long before Earth was born, worlds that made things, perhaps things that drift still, carrying silent messages in the form of inexplicable matter and shape. Some scientists warn against jumping to conclusions, but others are openly admitting that 3I Atlas has already forced textbooks to be rewritten. The chemical profiles contradict our most basic assumptions. The nuclear instability suggests physics at work we cannot yet explain. The isotopic signatures hint at processes beyond the scope of natural formation, and its sheer size raises the possibility that it could alter our models of galactic debris entirely. If history has taught us anything, it is that cosmic prophecy always begins with skepticism. When Galileo turned his telescope toward Jupiter's moons, the establishment laughed. When Einstein suggested space itself could curve, he was mocked. When the first exoplanet was announced, many dismissed it as error. And now, when 3I Atlas stares us down from the cold darkness between the stars, are we making the same mistake, dismissing it until it is too late to see what it truly means? The question is no longer what is 3I Atlas, but rather, what does it reveal about the universe itself? If the universe is indeed stranger than imagination, then this object is our first undeniable glimpse into that strangeness. And perhaps, if Michio Kaku's prophecy is unfolding before our eyes, 3I Atlas is not merely an interstellar traveler, it is a mirror, reflecting back the limitations of our understanding and daring us to step beyond them. The further telescopes observed, the stranger the story became. Scientists accustomed to clear data and tidy classifications now found themselves speaking in hushed tones, their language shifting from certainty to speculation. What 3I Atlas revealed was not just another cometary body. but a puzzle with pieces that refused to fit together. Every time one anomaly was explained, another appeared, and soon the object no longer felt like an object at all. It felt like a message, a riddle drifting across cosmic time. One of the most perplexing discoveries came from extended monitoring of its rotation. Unlike ordinary comets, which tumble in predictable patterns, 3I Atlas spun erratically, as though its center of mass shifted from moment to moment. Its rotational period shortened and lengthened unpredictably, like a pendulum caught in a storm. Some suggested sublimation, jets of gas escaping the surface, that could nudge it in strange ways. But others pointed out the energy required didn't align with the visible outgassing. Something else was influencing its spin, something unseen. It was here that the first whispers of an electromagnetic anomaly surfaced. Data indicated that as 3I Atlas passed through solar wind, its coma did not react in the expected way. Instead of dispersing evenly, particles aligned unnaturally, as though shaped by a magnetic field that did not belong to it. Could the object contain a metallic core? Or worse, could it house a technology, dormant but not dead? The questions pushed against the boundaries of accepted science, and many recoiled from them. But avoidance does not erase evidence. The more we studied it, the more it began to resemble a prophecy playing itself out in real time. 4 telescopes, 4 revelations, 4 warnings. Webb gave us chemistry that should not exist. Hubble gave us a nucleus that defied stability. The VLT gave us isotopes beyond explanation, and SPHEREx gave us scale beyond comprehension. Together, they painted a portrait of an object that was simultaneously natural and impossible, ancient and new, silent and screaming. Even the path it carved through our solar system carried undertones of omen. Celestial mechanics are not random. Objects follow predictable arcs dictated by gravity. Yet 3I Atlas seemed to flirt with unpredictability. It bent closer to certain planetary configurations than expected, as if tracing lines we had not drawn. For centuries, civilizations looked to comets as harbingers, signs that fate itself was being rewritten. Kings trembled, prophets spoke, and common people prepared for upheaval whenever a bright wanderer crossed their skies. Could it be that our modern age, with all its technology and telescopes, is once again standing on the same precipice, witnessing a cosmic visitor that is less an accident and more a revelation? Michio Kaku once warned that the day would come when humanity would have to confront not just the possibility of extraterrestrial life, but the evidence of civilizations past. He often compared interstellar objects to bottles floating across an endless ocean, some carrying messages, others carrying nothing, yet all of them evidence that shores exist beyond our sight. With 3I Atlas, we may be staring at such a bottle, the glass chipped and scarred by uncounted light years, but the message still faintly etched within. The prophecy element lies in what this does to our perception of time. We are used to thinking of history in human scales, thousands of years, perhaps tens of thousands. But 3I Atlas reminds us that the true canvas of existence is millions, even billions, of years. If it carries elements or designs unexplainable by natural processes, then those traces are not just scientific anomalies. They are remnants of a civilization that might have flourished before Earth itself cooled. Imagine that for a moment, a culture advanced enough to launch artifacts into interstellar space, yet old enough to be gone before our planet even formed. That is not just science fiction, that is cosmic archaeology. And if that is true, then the universe is littered with such relics, drifting silently, awaiting the moment when a young civilization like ours develops eyes sharp enough to notice. Webb, Hubble, VLT, and SPHEREx are those eyes, and what they have seen in 3I Atlas is forcing humanity into its next chapter. The prophecy is unfolding not in temples or scriptures, but in spectrographs and data streams, in images captured from the cold edges of space. But prophecy rarely arrives without warning. In ancient texts, omens were dismissed until they could no longer be ignored, and always there were voices crying out ahead of time. Michio Kaku, though a man of science, has long been such a voice, warning that we would be shaken by discoveries that topple the walls of certainty. His words now echo louder. One day, an object will come that will not fit into any box. That day will change everything we know about ourselves. For many, that day has already arrived with 3i Atlas. There is, however, an unease that lingers beneath the excitement. For if 3i Atlas is natural, then we must accept that the universe produces materials, isotopes, and structures we cannot explain. That means our theories of planetary formation, stellar chemistry, and interstellar drift are fundamentally incomplete. But if it is artificial, then we must accept something even more terrifying, that we are not alone, and that the universe holds remnants of civilizations that dwarf us not just in space but in time. Either conclusion reshapes human destiny, and so every new piece of data feels less like science and more like revelation. Scientists who once dismissed interstellar objects as curiosities now speak of them as keys. Each one, said one astronomer, is a book torn from a library we didn't know existed. 3i Atlas is not just a page. It is a volume filled with riddles, contradictions, and hints at a story that began long before we were here to listen. The symbolic weight of 4 telescopes converging on one object cannot be ignored either. 4 visions, 4 vantage points, all confirming strangeness. In mythology, 4 often represents foundation: north, south, east, west, earth, air, fire, water. To have 4 instruments confirm that 3i Atlas is not what we thought is almost archetypal, as though the universe itself demanded that no single perspective would suffice. Together, they bear witness, like 4 horsemen announcing a revelation not of doom but of truth. Perhaps that is why people are drawn to stories like this, even outside the halls of science. Deep down, humanity has always known that the sky holds secrets. From the earliest shamans to modern physicists, we have looked upward and sensed that the stars were not silent. 3i Atlas, in all its strangeness, may be the first clear whisper that we were right. Yet the whisper carries responsibility. If this object is indeed more than a comet, if it holds within it the fingerprints of a long-dead civilization, then what we choose to do next matters. Do we dismiss it, file it away in scientific journals, and return to our routines? Or do we treat it as the prophecy it is, the announcement that humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos has shifted forever? And what if this is not the last? If 3i Atlas is the 3rd interstellar object we have detected in just a few decades, then how many more are out there waiting? How many have already passed unnoticed before our technology was ready? Each one could be another page, another message, another chance to glimpse the truth. Perhaps the universe is not silent at all. Perhaps it is overflowing with messages, drifting endlessly, waiting for ears willing to hear. The danger, of course, is arrogance. We might assume too much, declare too quickly, and weave fantasies that distract from fact. But arrogance also lies in dismissal, in assuming that everything must conform to what we already believe. True prophecy walks the line between wonder and caution, between belief and skepticism. That is where 3i Atlas stands now, demanding not blind faith, but open eyes. And still the mystery deepens. Recent models attempting to predict its future trajectory show strange divergences. Gravitational assists, solar radiation pressure, and internal forces all combine to make its path harder to pin down than any other object of its class. In simple terms, we don't know exactly where it is going. That uncertainty alone echoes the theme of Omen, a traveler with no clear destination, crossing our system like a ghost, leaving behind questions that will outlive its passage. We may never touch 3i Atlas, may never send a probe fast enough to meet it before it vanishes again into interstellar night. And perhaps that is part of the design, natural or otherwise, to leave us with a glimpse, a spark of mystery, but not the whole truth. A prophecy half revealed, daring us to chase the rest. As it recedes, telescopes will continue to watch, to gather every photon of light it reflects, every molecule it sheds. But already, the object has done its work. It has broken the silence. It has unsettled certainty. It has reminded humanity that the cosmos is not a dead void, but a living script, unfolding with mysteries we are only beginning to read. And in that script, 3i Atlas may be one of the first great chapters. So is Michio Kaku's warning right? Has the prophecy begun? The evidence says yes. The comet that is not a comet, the nucleus that is not stable, the elements that should not exist, the size that should not be possible, all of it adds up to a singular truth. We are standing on the threshold of discovery, and 3I Atlas is the doorway. And perhaps, when future generations look back, they will not see 3I Atlas as merely an astronomical oddity, but as the first messenger, the first proof that we are part of a cosmic story larger than ourselves. The first undeniable sign that prophecy, whether written in stars or whispered by visionaries, has always been pointing us here. As the weeks passed, a strange shift began to ripple not only through the scientific community, but through the public as well. What had once been the domain of astronomers and physicists now spilled into conversations of philosophers, theologians, and futurists. For the first time in decades, an object in space was forcing humanity to grapple with a timeless question: what if we are being watched, not by eyes, but by relics? The truth is, humanity has always looked outward with curiosity, but rarely with humility. We expect the universe to follow our rules, to fit neatly into our categories of comets, asteroids, and planets. But 3I Atlas laughs at those categories. It bends them, breaks them, and refuses to settle into any box. This refusal itself is prophetic. It forces us to confront not only the possibility of other ways of making worlds, but also the possibility of other ways of leaving traces behind. Take, for instance, the chemical anomalies. When Webb reported hydrocarbons and exotic ices unknown to our system, the immediate question was, what star birthed this? What kind of nursery could produce such chemistry? But as deeper analysis rolled in, a more chilling idea emerged. What if these compounds were not natural at all? What if they were the byproducts of industry, of processes once harnessed by intelligent hands? Carbon composites, polymer-like residues, alloys embedded within ice. Each of these is a whisper that someone somewhere once altered matter for their own use. And those whispers now drift, frozen into the body of 3I Atlas, carrying across eons a faint echo of alien craftsmanship. Then there was the shape. Hubble's inconsistent nuclear measurements stirred endless debates, but consider what they imply. A nucleus that seems to shift in size, breaking all expectations of stability. Could it be fractured shells, layered structures, hollow cores? Engineers know well the designs of containment, of shells around voids, of structures built for endurance rather than randomness. Nature can carve such shapes, yes, but nature rarely maintains them across millions of years of violent interstellar travel. Something about 3I Atlas clings to form as though it had once been built to endure. The isotopic oddities reported by the Very Large Telescope deepen the unease. Rare isotopes appearing in quantities inconsistent with natural stellar processes suggest refinement, separation, and selection. These are words of industry, not geology. Imagine finding traces of uranium enrichment in a meteor. Such a discovery would demand a radical explanation. So too do the isotopes of 3I Atlas. They are either evidence of processes our astrophysics cannot yet model, or fingerprints of hands that once shaped the matter of stars. And then the size. SPHEREx's estimates shattered expectations. This was no mere shard drifting between suns, but a colossus, an object whose enormity defied its faint glow. Why so dark? Why so unreflective? Perhaps it was cloaked in carbon, absorbing light to remain hidden. Or perhaps it bore a surface designed for endurance, not for brilliance. In prophecy, the grandest truths often arrive cloaked, veiled from easy sight, revealed only when persistence forces the veil aside. The sheer magnitude of 3I Atlas is its veil. It hides not in brightness but in shadow, daring us to imagine how much larger the unseen cosmos may be. By now, the parallels to prophecy are undeniable. In every age, a sign appears, confusing, disruptive, unsettling, forcing a civilization to reframe its place in the world. For the ancients, it was comets blazing across the night sky. For us, it is an interstellar stranger whispering contradictions into our instruments, and as always, the message is the same. You are not at the center, and you do not yet understand the whole. Michio Kaku's words echo like scripture across this unfolding narrative. He did not claim to predict the exact object, the exact year, or the exact discovery. Instead, he warned of the pattern, that eventually something would arrive which tore through our frameworks, leaving only awe in its wake. This is the very definition of prophecy, not prediction of detail, but revelation of inevitability. The inevitability that one day the universe would stare back. And so the question now becomes, what do we do with revelation? History shows that revelation divides. Some embrace it, seeing in 3i Atlas the proof of cosmic kinship, the evidence that life and mind are not singular to Earth. Others resist, clinging to familiar models, unwilling to release the comfort of certainty. And still others whisper in fear, imagining not ancient relics but potential threats, warning that what passes by once could return again with intention. Yet perhaps the truth is simpler. Perhaps 3i Atlas is not here to warn, to threaten, or to comfort. Perhaps it is only here to remind us that the universe is alive with histories we have yet to read, with stories not bound to our planet or our species. In that sense, it is both science and scripture, both data and omen. But the implications stretch further than philosophy. If isotopes, structures, and chemicals can survive millions of years of interstellar travel, then the cosmos is indeed filled with relics, waiting to be found. Some may hold the chemistry of alien biology, others the fragments of technology, still others the silent scars of wars or disasters older than Earth. This means humanity stands at the threshold of a new science, interstellar archaeology. A science that will not dig into soil but into starlight, not unearth ruins but unravel data, piecing together civilizations from objects like 3i Atlas. And if this is prophecy, then it is only the beginning. Today, one object forces us to question. Tomorrow, another may confirm. And the day may come when not just relics, but signals or even encounters emerge from the void. What we decide to believe about 3i Atlas prepares us for that day. If we dismiss, we will be blindsided. If we listen, we will be ready. Consider how humanity itself has left traces. Voyager, Pioneer, New Horizons. Each probe carries messages, symbols, artifacts of our existence. A billion years from now, long after Earth is dust, those probes may still drift, silent ambassadors of a civilization once alive on a blue planet near an ordinary star. To another species, finding one of them would raise the very same questions we now ask of 3i Atlas. Is this natural? Is this artifact? What story does it tell? In that sense, the prophecy of 3i Atlas is not just about the past, it is about our future. For one day, we too will be the ghosts carried on cosmic tides, whispering through objects drifting between suns. And so perhaps the greatest revelation is this. 3i Atlas is not alien to us. It is us, reflected back through time. It is the destiny of all civilizations to leave traces, to scatter artifacts across eternity. We are not separate from this story. We are part of it. The object is not just a messenger of what was, but a mirror of what will be. Imagine then that Michio Kaku's prophecy is not warning but preparation. Preparation for a humanity that must learn to see itself not as alone, but as one among many, not as a singular spark, but as part of a vast fire spanning galaxies. 3i Atlas, in its silence, demands that we begin this transition now. It is not what we thought because what we thought was too small. The universe is larger, older, stranger, and far more alive than we dared to dream. This is why the telescopes matter. Webb, Hubble, VLT, SPHEREx, each a guardian of sight, each confirming that the object is beyond classification. Together, they form a chorus, 4 voices declaring the same truth. The cosmos is speaking, and for once, we are listening. The story will not end here. Future generations of telescopes, extremely large telescope Hubble, will carry forward the watch. More objects will be found, more anomalies revealed, more whispers heard. And each one will draw us deeper into the realization that prophecy is not a relic of ancient times, but an eternal thread woven into the fabric of discovery. When 3i Atlas finally vanishes from our reach, it will leave behind more than data. It will leave behind a mark on human history. We will remember it as the object that shattered certainty, the traveler that arrived not to destroy, but to awaken. And in that awakening, we will see that prophecy is not about predicting tomorrow, but about preparing for truths too vast to ignore. So let us name the truth clearly. Three-Eye Atlas is not what we thought. It is larger, stranger, and more mysterious than our science could prepare us for. It is either the relic of a universe more diverse than we dreamed, or the artifact of hands older than we can imagine. And either way, it is the sign we have been waiting for, the sign that Michio Kaku's warning was right, and that prophecy has unfolded in the skies above. And as we look into the night, perhaps with fear, perhaps with wonder, we must accept what the object demands of us: humility, courage, and readiness. For Three-Eye Atlas is not just a comet, not just an interstellar traveler. It is the announcement that the age of cosmic prophecy has begun.